Greetings, everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you. If you are just now tuning in, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We are back for part 2, Scandals in the Church, T.D. Jakes, Duane Youngblood, and COGIC allegations. In this video, we delve into the recent legal battle involving Bishop T.D. Jakes, who has filed a defamation lawsuit against fellow minister Duane Youngblood, following Youngblood's allegations of attempted SA during his appearances on the Larry Reid live YouTube show. Jake's legal team has firmly denied these claims. The lawsuit comes on the heels of a concerning medical incident that Jakes experienced during a Sunday service at the Potter's house. Join us as we explore the details of this unfolding story, the implications of both parties, and the reactions from the community. All right. So let's go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Listen here, listen here, listen here. I'm ready. All right. So hopefully you all can see the documents. We left off on page 11, and I'll actually add this up a little bit. So if you guys are out there, that way you can see if you're watching from the television screen. All right, so it says Youngblood's false accusations were republished by other YouTubers and TikTok influencers to hundreds of thousands of additional viewers. All told, it's likely that over 1 million people have been exposed to Youngblood's lies about Bishop Jakes. Youngblood retains an attorney with a history of filing frivolous lawsuits against prominent Black celebrities and proceeds to try to extort millions from Bishop Jakes. Okay, listen here. Incredibly, the defendant's malicious efforts to smear Bishop Jakes' reputation was only part of the plan. Prototypically, of course, their motivation was also deeply rooted in immediate financial gain. Days after the second podcast on information and belief, the defendants retained a lawyer in New York to represent Youngblood in a blatant attempt at a money grab. So right here it says that Youngblood retained counsel after the Larry Reid's live interview, if I am receiving that correctly. Hey there, Really Lie, how are you? We're going over the T.D. Jakes lawsuit, child. Okay, so I'm trying to make sense of it. By letter dated November 15, 2024, a lawyer purporting to represent Youngblood demanded that Bishop Jakes pay Youngblood $6 million in order to resolve this matter quickly and privately. Otherwise, Youngblood would bring a lawsuit against Bishop Jakes for SA and harassment. The motivation of the demand was clear: pay millions of dollars. Otherwise, the podcast strategy and other similar tactics of attempting to publicly harass and shame Bishop Jakes would continue. Now it seems like they're wrapping Larry Reid live in this. So there were Jane Doe's 1 through 10. Do you all believe that Larry Reid will be implicated into this lawsuit? That's the question. Will he be implicated? Okay, so it says fundamentally, federal criminal law punishes blackmail. Anyone who either demands or receives money or any other valuable thing under the threat of informing or as a consideration for not informing against any violation of U.S. law under 18 U.S.C. 873 is committing a crime. All right, so right here, there's TikTok. Oh, these are links where, oh wow. So these are links to where um they were posted. Wow, okay. Further, both the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania 18 PACS 3923 and federal criminal law 18 USC 13 punish attempted extortion, such as the money grab, which is no different than an old fashioned robbery attempt. Here, the selection of the attorney was part of this of the scheme because Youngblood needed to obtain counsel who was either familiar with or experienced in tactics to bring SA claims decades old that have no merit and or have no relief under the law. For example, the same attorney commenced an action in California against the rapper T.I. and his wife Tiny Harris. Blackburn. I'm assuming that is attorney Blackburn. Let's get into it. Accusing them of S-ing a woman in 2005. In August 2024, U.S. District Court Judge Sherilyn Peace Garnett dismissed the lawsuit. The rapper stated that these allegations were false and were part of the many salacious allegations put forth in order to extort money from them. The same proverbial playbook is at work here against Bishop Jakes. However, Youngblood miscalculated Bishop Jakes' inclination to fight back. Bishop Jakes bring this action to hold Youngblood accountable for deliberately spreading his manufactured story of SA. Youngblood spread knowingly false accusations about one of the most respected and prominent religious figures, and he did so for the most morally corrupt reasons to rehabilitate his image, explain away his own criminal and horrific conduct, and ultimately profit significantly. The financial harm Youngblood's knowingly false accusations have caused Bishop Jakes are monumental and devastating. Bishop Jakes has been the spiritual rock for millions of Christians all over the world, particularly in the African American community. Youngblood's viral allegations that Bishop Jakes grown preyed on and and aid him, then a young minister, have tarnished Bishop Jakes' reputation. Hundreds of thousands, if not more, have seen and heard Youngblood's accusations. And because of the lies Youngblood and his co-conspirators have told to bolster his credibility, those viewers are likely to believe Youngblood's knowingly false story. In addition to, and even more devastating than the millions of dollars in reputational harm Youngblood has caused, Youngblood's lies have put in jeopardy the critical philanthropic missions Bishop Jakes spearheads and has likely impaired significantly the benefits that the recipients of such efforts receive. And Youngblood's intentional and malicious lies have taken a substantial emotional and physical toll on Bishop Jakes. On November 24th, The day before he filed this action, Bishop Jakes suffered a medical crisis on stage in the middle of his Sunday service in front of his entire church. Bishop Jakes believed with all his heart that actual victims of SA should be treated with the utmost respect, kindness, empathy, and sympathy, and that true perpetrators of such abuse should be held accountable for their actions. But that is not the case here. Youngblood has used and abused the might of social media and the legal process to re victimize those he preyed on and harm, and to make knowingly false accusations for his own personal and financial gain. Men like Youngblood must be held accountable for the abuse of the system and for setting back those with legitimate and real allegations of SA. Bishop Jakes bring this lawsuit to hold men like Youngblood accountable for their actions. Oh, accountable for their shameful acts and to set the record straight. Please forgive me on that. Okay, so it says, see the Shakamari County Bishop T.D. Jakes suffered health incident after delivering sermon, CBS. So this is the article where, they are putting everything in here, you all. They put everything. They didn't miss a beat. Okay, didn't miss a beat. So that's the article. That's the video. Okay, so first claim for relief, liable per se against defendant Duane Youngblood. Bishop Jakes repeats, realleges, and incorporates the above paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. On October 28, 2024, and November the 3rd, 2024, Youngblood gave a live interview on the Larry Reid Live show in which he accused Bishop Jakes of grooming him, of SAing and using him, and over other predatory conduct of a sexual nature. The shows were titled 10/28/24, Larry Reid Live Interviews Duane Youngblood, The Abused Becomes the Abuser, and 11/3/2024, Part 2, Larry Reid Live Interviews Duane Youngblood, The Abused Becomes the Abuser, respectively. In addition to general accusations of SA against Bishop Jakes, the October 28th Larry Reid Live broadcast also includes the following specific statements by Youngblood about Bishop Jakes. After sitting there and having this long discourse with him, I finally looked at my watch and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go. I got to get this car back to my mother. She gonna unalive me. So I said to Bishop, I got to get up. And I got up from the table. He got up from the table. He walked around toward the way I had to exit quicker than I got over there. And when I started to walk past him, he pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me, and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally unalived. Jakes and I get on that phone. And when I get on that telephone, I can hear water. He is sitting in the bathtub, and in that thing, he says to me without any hesitation, there's three things I need you to do. The first one is when I come to Pittsburgh, you're going to be the only person I sleep with. The second one is you can't sleep with anybody else because I don't want to give my wife anything. And thirdly, I will take care of you for the rest of your life. There is so much more to me and Bishop Jakes and my family, and Bishop Jakes and the absolute destructive actual damage, but this thing was so extremely damaging. So those were the three, these were his statements right here. So bulletin right here, this is a statement. Bulletin 2, this is a statement right here. And then bulletin 3 right down here before we get to 14, this is a statement right here. And so this is going to be October 28th, Larry Reid Live episode. And so now we're on to page 15. So we have 5 more. And in addition to general accusations of SA against Bishop Jakes, The November the 3rd Larry Reid Live broadcast also includes the following specific statements by Youngblood about Bishop Jakes. Bulletin number 1. When it comes to Bishop Jakes, when I was sharing the story the other day, I'm just running through the story, but I want to make sure people are very clear. I said that we were sitting at a dining room table, and I looked at my watch and I said, I've got to get up out of here because I've got to get my mother's car back to her. But what may have been misunderstood is that Bishop Jakes got up, came around that table, and positioned himself in the corner that I had to walk past. When I was walking past that corner, he grabbed me. There is no reason, if you're going to just give me a hug as we're leaving, go to the door with me and let's hug it out and let me go out the door. We are not at the door. We are still in the dining room, and he is in the corner, grabbed me to himself, looked down in my face, and then tried to bend his head down to kiss me on my lips. This is not a you didn't get what you wanted to get. When I got home that next day, what I learned by Bishop Jake's phone call to me was what he thought of me. Because he said there's three things that I need you to do without hesitation. There's no long build up or nothing. So it tells me that the conversation that I had with him, his observation of me, made him believe that what he was getting ready to share, I would go with it. That means he had thoughts about my sexuality, my identity, all of those things before he even made the suggestion. And so he suggested to me, one, you're going to be the only person I'm going to have blank with when I come to Pittsburgh. Two, you can't sleep with anybody else because I can't give this to my wife. And three, I'm going to take care of you the rest of your life. To me, that is absolutely forcing your position, your idea on the person. The full interviews were posted on the Larry Reid Live YouTube and Facebook accounts and the LarryReidLive.com website. Clips of the interviews featuring the Youngblood's accusations of grooming, SA, and other predatory conduct were also posted to the Larry Reid Live YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram accounts. All of these posts went out to a worldwide audience and were viewed hundreds of thousands of times. Youngblood statements were of and concerning Bishop Jakes. So we're going to page 16. Youngblood statements on the October 28th and November the 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Lives individually and taken as a whole intended to convey and were understood by viewers as conveying the factual accusations that Bishop Jakes Group SASA engaged in predatory conduct of SEO nature with Youngblood. Youngblood statements on the October 28th and November 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Live are false and defamatory. Youngblood statements on the October 28th and November the 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Live are libelous, libelous per se, in that they expose Bishop Jakes to contempt, ridicule, and obloquy. Tends to affect Bishop Jakes and his profession as a trusted pastor and religious figure, and accuses Bishop Jakes of engaging in unlawful conduct. Indeed, the accusations that Youngblood has made about Bishop Jakes are as damaging and damning as anyone can make about a prominent pastor and spiritual leader. By publication of his statements on the October 28th and November the 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Live, Youngblood caused harm to Bishop Jakes' reputation. Youngblood published his statements on the October 28th and November the 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Live with actual malice, and that he was aware at the time of publication that the statement was false, or at a minimum, had a high degree of awareness that the statement was probably false. In addition to knowing his statements were false when he made them, because he was a firsthand witness to his interactions with Bishop Jakes and knows that he was never groomed, essayed, or preyed on in any way by Bishop Jakes. Youngblood's statements were also made with a reckless disregard of the truth. For example, Youngblood had financial and other motives to lie, as evidenced by his demand for millions of dollars from Bishop Jakes and his attempt to rehabilitate his image and recast himself as a victim instead of a predator in order to revive his ministry. Bulletin number 2. Youngblood is a convicted felon NAS offender. Bulletin number 3. Youngblood claims are inherently improbable. In particular, his claims about the follow-up conversations with Bishop Jakes. Bulletin number 4. Youngblood's false and defamatory statements about Bishop Jakes were made in furtherance of and to fit within the preconceived storyline Youngblood needed in order to rehabilitate his image as a offender and felon, and to demand and extract millions of dollars from Bishop Jakes. Bulletin number 5. Youngblood was caught red-handed lying about the circumstances of his criminal convictions during his October 28th interview with Larry Reid. And in his demand letter, when he changed his story to be that he may have been 17 rather than 18 or 19 at the time of the alleged incident. And the last bulletin. Youngblood conspired and coordinated with others to levy these false attacks on Bishop Jakes. All right, let's go. Youngblood had an applicable privilege or legal authorization to make these false and defamatory statements, or if he did, he abused it. As a direct and proximate result of the publication of his false and defamatory statements on the October 28th and November the 3rd episodes of Larry Reid Live, Bishop Jakes has suffered substantial injury to his reputation. Youngblood's defamatory statements were accompanied with malice, wantonness, and a conscious desire to cause injury. Youngblood purposefully made the defamatory statements heedlessly and with reckless and willful indifference to Bishop Jakes' rights. Bishop Jakes is therefore entitled to actual, presumed, punitive, and other economic damages in an amount to be specifically determined at trial. So let's start right there before we go to page 18. So pretty much what his lawyers have set out, he said, this is what it is. This is what he said. He's retracted statements. They were defamatory. They were not true. This was his Bishop Jakes, his attorneys these were false claims. These were not accurate. This man did not tell the truth when he was on that interview. He wasn't specific. He wanted to give the pieces of the story that would make him look restored in a sense for the heinous crimes that he committed, you know? And as of right now, he's on parole. But he danced around why he his parole was revoked and why he had gotten into trouble. If you did not catch that, please make sure you go and watch part 1. We did discuss all of that in part 1. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go on to page 18, and we have 2 more pages. Second claim for relief, civil conspiracy against all defendants. Oh, second claim for relief, civil conspiracy against all defendants. Bishop Jakes repeats, realleges, and incorporates the above paragraphs as though fully set forth herein. On information belief, Youngblood and those acting in concert. You know what? This word concert. Because it paints a story. Okay, this was a production. Because they're not saying that this is a production, this was a show, this was, because you got to think about it. It was posted on Larry Reid's Facebook accounts, Instagram, YouTube, on his website, on this, on that. And so when they say on information and belief, Youngblood and those acting in concert with him, i.e., and these are just speculations. I'm not no attorney. I'm just thinking outside of, I'm just thinking. These are my opinions, and opinions are not facts, okay? I.e., the co-conspirators worked together to publish and broadcast the false claim that Bishop Jakes groomed him and SA'd Youngblood on a podcast reaching over 100,000 persons. Knowing that making such false claims on a podcast that reaches such a broad audience of listeners would harm Bishop Jakes, to wit, co-conspirator number 1 falsely claimed in substance during the podcast that Bishop Jakes had engaged in settlement discussions with Youngblood regarding his claims. On information and belief, this statement by co-conspirator number 1 was done intentionally in order to give credence and a patina of credibility to Youngblood's false statements. Even though co-conspirator number 1 was aware that efforts by Bishop Jakes to pay Youngblood to avoid him making such statements was knowingly false. So let me read that again. Co-conspirator number 1 was aware that efforts by Bishop Jakes to pay Youngblood to avoid him making such statements was knowingly false. Okay. The first podcast occurred on October 28th, 2024, while Youngblood and his co-conspirators made false statements to harm Bishop Jakes in that broadcast. On information and belief, the defendants aimed to maximize their efforts by launching a second broadcast on November the 3rd, 2024, meant to sharpen and clarify the false statements for maximum impact. For example, Sum and Substance attempted to more clearly target his false claim of SA against Bishop Jakes by stating in Sum and Substance that Bishop Jakes restrained him and forcibly kissed him, as opposed to the first podcast interview where Youngblood alleges that they embraced at the end of an hour's long, wide-ranging conversation about faith and life and parents. Page 19. Due to Youngblood and his co-conspirators, defamatory acts Bishop Jakes has suffered general and specific damages and amount to be established at trial. So listen here. It's like we're not gonna we're not jumping around this. We're not backing down. We're going to trial. We are going to trial. So it's not no if, ands, buts about it. We will disclose those amounts when we get into trial. So get your pocketbooks ready, get your offerings ready, get your GoFundMe ready, because the bishops is giving. He's about to do a little cleanup. He's about to do some cleanup in your bank account. Okay, let's get into it. So, on information and belief, Youngblood alleges that defendants and each of them have committed defamatory acts and or acts in furtherance of against Bishop Jakes, as alleged above, which were willful, intentional, and malicious, with subjects, defendants, and each of them to liability. Oh, get into this, y'all. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, plaintiff Bishop T.D. Jakes respectfully requests that the court award him relief against defendant Duane Youngblood as follows. Actual and compensatory damages exceeding $75,000, as well as interest, reasonable attorney fees, and costs as allowed by law. Punitive damages as allowed by law, and such other and further relief as the court deems appropriate. Now, listen here. He says, I want my money. Just how you was trying to crank up that ministry, I hope that ministry is up and running. And I hope that, listen here, Duane Youngblood, are you sure you want to do this? It's too late to ask that because it's already done. You went on the podcast on October the 28th, 2024, the first time. You went back on there November the 3rd, 2024, doubled down, gave an explanation, and then you have, I believe it's attorney Blackburn. That was the attorney that filed that lawsuit against Tiny and T.I. And actually, they won that case. And actually, they've been on a winning spree lately. They just won like 71 million out in California for the OMG dolls, or 41 million. It was like 41 million or 71 million. It was in the millions. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's finish up this case. Okay, so the jury trial. But I just want to say, baby, you are in for a ride. Okay. Jury trial demand. Ooh, demand. Plaintiff demands trial by jury for all claims and issues that are triable. The date is November 25th, 2024. Okay. So this is the attorney's office. Wow. So, baby, that's it. That's page 20. This is part 2. If you all enjoyed this, let me know. Let me know in the comments, please. And listen here, we'll come back with some more. If you guys would like for us to cover more stories, let us know. and we will definitely do that. But please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell someone that we are live. Until next time, so long. Oh, excuse me. Oh, Queen said.